Welcome to Waxing Comical, your favorite podcast about comic books and listening to two white guys talk about them with our unique.
Statistically, if you're listening to this, you're probably not listening to a whole lot of others.
Hopefully, we don't want competition.
No, we'll kill them.
We don't like a challenge. So in this episode, we'll be talking about.
Wait, but who are we?
Oh, I'm Dan. That's Luke over there.
I'm Luke.
His voice is on the other side.
Am I dead?
You're dead the whole time, like Christopher Walken. That's the dead zone.
That's the dead zone.
So we're going to be talking about Y: The Last Man. There's going to be a lot of spoilers because we both read it. So if you haven't, get your shit together and read it.
Yeah. Or this can just be your entire experience of Y: The Last Man. It shouldn't be, but.
We used to be one of those dicks who's like, oh, I already know what happens. Why should I read it or watch it or blah blah blah? It's like, 'cause it's good.
Yeah.
Just because you know that everything turns out right in the end. It's the journey, not the destination, man.
And don't say you're waiting for the TV show because if it ever comes out,
it's going to be completely different,
and it won't be as good.
Yeah, I'll say that. He's not gonna hang full dong like he does in the comic, ladies
and men.
Yeah, whoever wants some full pickle from Yorick Brown. Though I'm sure Shia LaBeouf would have gone full pickle if he'd made the movie.
He probably will anyway.
Modern day Shia LaBeouf.
Do you think he has?
Don't talk about Matthew Fox.
Do you think
I know that for a fact.
Do you think Shia LaBeouf has a landing strip?
Modern
day Shia LaBeouf. He's very modern.
I don't know. I've never hazarded a guess of how he trims himself up.
I haven't either up until this point, but up
until right now. But now it's all you can think about.
Now I realize it's probably not just normal down there.
It's just lightning bolts.
Lightning bolts are his name, but mirrored, so he has to look in a mirror to see it right. Yeah. Or maybe when he looks down at it, it's like a beautiful woman, but if you look at it from straight on, it's like an old woman.
He just wants to be as obtuse as possible.
Yeah.
We talk about
Battle Pope.
You mostly talk about it because I haven't read it yet.
That's true.
Hopefully I will at some point when I buy. There's only 4 volumes, so I'll buy them at some point. We don't talk about Matthew Fox at all. That'd be crazy, and we'd have no reason to talk about Matthew Fox anyway.
This is true. Other than how handsome and charming he is,
and DUIs and stuff,
he is real charming. He could get me into bed, whether I wanted it or not.
I wasn't a fan of him in Lost. I mean, Sawyer was clearly the best character.
Yeah, because
he was the bad
boy.
Yeah.
They had their little love square,
and then they had that fight. Remember when?
Which one? Which fight?
The one over the bomb. Towards the end.
Yeah, okay.
Remember when Evil Locke and Jack fought in, the last episode? And right before the commercial...
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, when it looked so epic and cool, Jack jumped in the air with his fist, pulled back, like a jumping Superman punch. And then, it comes back from commercial, and he just sort of, falls onto Locke. That was, ramping up to be so cool, and then it was so stupid. If not for that goddamn commercial break.
Remember when Juliet was lying on top of an atomic bomb that blew up and died a little bit later?
Yeah, and was pretty much intact.
She was like, that really hurt, that bomb.
That bomb ended up doing nothing.
Well, didn't it kill them all?
Well, other than that. Well, wait, no, it didn't. Did it kill anyone?
Yeah, because after that they were all in after that point, that was when they were actually in purgatory.
Yeah, they were in purgatory, but that was only half the episodes, and then the rest, or the other half of the episodes, were them still on the island trying to figure everything out.
Fuck if I know.
I think the bomb just the whole time was a MacGuffin. If I'm using that correctly, because it went off and then it had the flash, sideways, where it was oh, this is what would have happened if they never crashed, and then it was everything's different, and then it turns out it's purgatory, which means the bomb did nothing. It just exploded, and now they're in the present, and then they get off the island and Jack dies. Spoilers.
So J.J. Abrams made Felicity before he made this. Do you think that was as confusing?
I know she cut her hair, and that was a big deal.
What?
but I have no clue what even Felicity is. I'm aware of it. I just don't know.
Something about a college girl, I think.
Sorry, a witch?
A college girl?
Damn it. Okay. I was assuming there's something supernatural or sci-fi going on.
I've never seen it, but I'm just going to assume that it is exactly like Lost, but in college.
Literally, my only reference for it is that there was a thing when she cut her hair. Apparently, that's my entire. That's where my knowledge of Felicity begins and ends.
That's more than I knew.
And I think I only know that through happy endings, because Max gave Dave a permanent, and someone told him they look like Felicity after she ruined the show or something like that. God, that's a good show. Is happy endings.
Anywho, those are the two big topics. We talk about some Marvel stuff and
do we?
Briefly.
I read a bunch of their comics.
You do, yeah.
Yeah. I can never remember what we talked about.
Oh no, it's in one ear and out the other.
It's like a sieve.
I don't even know where I am right now.
I'm at a bus stop in Idaho, using the Wi-Fi.
We're gonna get you home, buddy.
Buses are scary.
Yeah, so you can contribute to our Kickstarter for Dane's bus ticket.
Bus ticket and subsequent brain re-scrambling.
De-scrambling, re-scrambling, and re-scrambling again.
Just to see what sticks.
Follow us on Twitter at Waxing Comical. Ask us
one word
questions. Of course, it's one word. It's Twitter.
They don't
have the technology.
Twitter name has an underscore in it.
They don't have the technology for spaces.
That's true. Underscores. I have an underscore.
That is years away.
Mine's love underscore rocket.
Mine's Luke of Hazard with 2 Z's, all one word.
Wait, is Hazard normally spelled with 1 Z?
Yes.
Really? I don't know that.
I mean, not if it's the last name, of the Dukes of Hazzard, which is what it's a reference to. Anyway, ask us questions on there, and we'll say funny stuff at you.
Yeah.
Enjoy the episode.
Bye.
So I finally started Fallout 4.
That goddamn time.
And for the first... Caitlin was there when I started, and for the first half hour or so, all I said was, they took everything from me.
Even before they took everything from you? Did you just know?
I had a feeling.
Was your wife just what's happening? Are those bombs?
Took everything. She was wondering why I was collecting all the junk after I got out of the cryo tube.
Because you have a problem.
Yeah. And this game is facilitating it.
What level are you?
10?
10.
Yeah, I feel like I still haven't done anything in that game at all. I guess I got to the edges of Diamond City, but I haven't been in there yet. And I've done all of 3 missions for that first settlement.
Minutemen?
Yeah, the Minutemen that have now moved to my
Preston Garvey,
childhood home, who immediately gave up his title. As soon as I came in, he was like, "Hey, can you do this?
Can you do my job? I got stuff going on.
I am not ready for this."
My name's Preston. How are you?
So, what'd you read lately, Dane?
Actually, I just read a bunch of the new Marvel books, a bunch of the #1 issues that I hadn't read yet, because I was waiting on them to come out in paperback, but I figured I'll read the first issue just to make sure I'm going to want to buy it.
Because you have no self-control, is what you're saying.
Well, I have other issues. I'm just not going to read them. I just read the first one of each series, the ones that are coming out in paperback first, just so I know I want to buy them, and I do want to buy all of them so far.
What series?
I was about to say that before you interrupted me. Technically, I did pause to let you ask, but still.
You knew what this was.
let's see. I read Uncanny Avengers, which was good, but I hate the art so much. I don't get people liking Ryan Stegman's art. It's just
Not familiar.
it's wrong. I'm not, you probably read something with him. He's like one of those that like just does stuff here and there.
For good reason, apparently.
I don't. Some people love him. I don't get it. Like Spider-Man's in the issue because he like leaves the team in the first issue. Spoilers, because he's not a fan of. Because he's not a fan that the Deadpool's part of the team. Because apparently Deadpool is like the financial backer of the team now. He's like super famous. Because I also read Deadpool #1.
I have
he's
missed
like
some stuff.
He's become super famous. He's got like a team of Deadpools, and he's got like a Deadpool store where he sells Deadpool merchandise, severely marked up, so they can pay for the Avengers Unity Squad.
Does he have money that he's earned from the real world selling Deadpool merchandise? Have they tried to make that happen?
I think that's what it's based on.
Okay.
Like the fact that he's now becoming like even more popular, like with the mainstream audience as opposed to just comic book fans. So Spider-Man left the team, but like the way he was drawn was like there's no skin on him. Like he didn't take his mask off, but it was like just cheekbones and a jaw, and like just the cloth, was just clinging to both of them, and there was nothing in between. It just looked uncomfortable and weird.
He
and
just hasn't eaten in a while.
And he draws muscles really weird. It's just an all around bad experience art wise.
I think the worst Spider-Man I've seen drawing wise is Ramos's during one of the last Amazing
where he
Spider-Man
has like a negative 5-inch waist.
Yeah, and just a big old barrel chest.
Well, I will say, like, I like this guy's art. I'm fine with Humberto Ramos too, but Paul, I can never know how to pronounce his name. Paul Azaceta, I think the guy who does Outcast. It's Outcast.
Azaceta or something.
It's something like that. I like his art in Outcast, but he did like a Spider-Man arc and gave like Spider-Man was drawn with what looked to be like a beer belly most of the time, which I can understand. Like I can understand wanting him to look like tough, like muscular.
That's not tough.
But yeah, it's not tough. It just looks weird because his arms and legs weren't like in proportion to that. They were muscular, but they weren't like 1,000 inches wide.
I mean,
and also he's Spider-Man. He's supposed to be like slender.
A beer belly could be like intimidating if he's like sitting at the end of a bar with a beer in hand.
A beer belly is intimidating if like Wolverine has it.
Shouting, "Mirror."
You can hear the apostrophe. Mirror.
Mirror. Is Remender writing that Uncanny Avengers?
No, it's Dugan.
Yeah.
Duggan.
Okay.
Whatever.
That's not bad either. They're the only.
Yeah,
I think they're the only two guys who I've read Deadpool written by them.
Yeah, though Poseidon's not back on regular Deadpool, which kind of sucks. I mean, I don't know how much like his contribution was, but
is he off doing comedy and shit?
Probably like a nerd, not writing comic books. So those are pretty good. I don't really care about like the team at all. Deadpool is pretty much the only one I like on the team. And then like old Steve Rogers is kind of on it, I guess. I don't know. He's like back up. Like I like how he goes from being like looking like a frail old man to in some comics just looks like a bodybuilder with an old man's head.
So Brit.
Yeah, he's Brit now. I still don't get how he's like old. At the most, he should be like 50 physically. Whatever.
Cap? Or
yeah, Cap.
I mean,
Cap.
Should he not be?
Well, unless the cryogen or not cryogenic, just the freezing underwater didn't actually halt his aging. It literally just the super soldier serum stopped him from aging. Unless that's it, because otherwise, I mean, he has aged since he came out of the deep freeze, but at most like 15 years, maybe 20, because of the Dimension Z stuff.
Yeah, a lot of time in the other dimension.
He was in there for like 11 years. I think before that he was probably, with the rolling timeline, he was probably out of the freeze for like maybe 10 years.
Maybe he did a lot of smoking and drinking while he was Captain America because it didn't
Sleeping
affect
on
him.
his face.
Yeah.
I mean, at most I would say 50, probably younger, like 45. He should be, but again, I don't know. It's one of those things like Superior Iron Man. I keep asking people on Twitter, and I cannot get an answer as to why Tony's good again.
Yeah.
Whatever. Maybe I'm still thinking that hopefully they're going to do like an issue that is a flashback to what the hell happened. That's such like a big thing to like not answer.
Maybe everyone just kind of got used to it, and they liked the evil Tony better.
He just mellowed out a little bit.
Went back to red armor.
With a weird crotch. What else did I read? I read Extraordinary X-Men, which had Humberto Ramos doing the art.
Is Bendis doing that?
No, it's Jeff Lemire.
Oh, okay.
And he's also writing Old Man Logan, and Old Man Logan's part of the Extraordinary X-Men team, which is literally the only reason I'm reading it. I've never been like an X-Men fan. Like the best X-Men run for me, so like lately, has been All New X-Men by Bendis.
Yeah.
In general, I'm not a fan of X-Men.
None of the X-Men comics have been like any of my favorites, but like I've always liked them as just like I guess as a concept or like as a franchise.
Yeah, the concept is fine. It's just when you like when you get into details, then it's just like, oh my god, we get it. You're hated and feared. I can't.
Wouldn't that piss you off if you had superpowers, but like you were the only one that everyone hated because you had superpowers?
Yeah, like Spider-Man has superpowers. I mean, I understand some people hate him, but not for the same reasons.
Yeah, mostly just J.
Which makes zero sense. Who is no longer mayor?
Does he have a newspaper again, or like a blog?
I think he has a news program on the television.
Oh, that's nice. Good for him.
Keep active in his advanced age. So yeah, I'm not too big a fan of X-Men in general, but there are like certain comics and stories I like. Anything Wolverine is usually good because he doesn't harp on that all the time. It's usually just him. Like he's just a dude with claws who can heal. Yeah. He's never like, I'm doing this for mutant rights and we're not the same as people, even though we totally are. We just have superpowers. We're definitely humans. That's a thing. That's always pissed me off too. There's no difference between them and humans. They just have superpowers.
Yeah.
Like they're not another species. If they were another species, they would all have basically the same abilities with some variations, instead of everybody having wildly different powers.
Yeah.
That's not a species. That's a mutation, which is the same species, just mutated.
And they wouldn't be able to have kids with regular people.
They can now. That's a thing. Apparently, I don't know if it's in something else or if it's just because of the. I don't know if it's in another comic, like actual X-Men or Uncanny or All New or whatever. But apparently, I don't know where all the mutants are, but apparently most of them are off planet or something. I don't know. They didn't really go into it in the Uncanny Avengers because Rogue's on the team, speaking kind of normal, which is bearable.
I think
once I think once she said "ah" instead of "I," but I think after that I read "I" instead of "ah," so that works fine. We get that she has a southern accent. You don't need to phonetically write it.
Yeah, not just southern. It's like a Cajun,
like goddamn Gambit.
Louisiana.
Wait, is it
Nolans?
I know the Gambit is. I don't know. Is Rogue? I don't know where she's from.
Yeah, they both seem
Whatever.
to be.
I don't actually give a crap about either one of them, so I don't know why we're talking about this.
That's true. Oh man, I used to like Gambit like as a kid when I just like kind of knew about him from the cartoon. I was like, oh, here's this cool ladies' man who can throw playing cards that blow up, and he has
Loves
a cool
smoking
staff.
Cigarettes.
Loves smoking cigarettes. And then I finally read something with him in it, and he was just like, mon chéri,
This is not a roofie, my dear. This is a mutant ability.
Yeah. Originally, Gambit was going to be played by Bill Cosby.
Pudding cups. So apparently, I don't know if they're off planet, but somebody mentioned it in Uncanny Avengers because they're like, Rogue, why aren't you with all the other mutants? I don't know where they are. But apparently, because of the Inhuman Terrigen mist, they're all like sick or something. It's like Terrigen sickness.
With space madness.
Space madness, like Matt Damon in Interstellar. I called that so hard when I saw that movie.
Or Steve Buscemi in Armageddon.
I didn't see Armageddon.
How did you not see Armageddon?
Because I don't care about... if there's not something to punch, then I don't really care about action movies.
There's a big-ass rock to punch.
Yeah, they just blow it. I don't care about... I can't get into, Fast and Furious either, because I'm not into, car chase movies, or... If there's, a vehicle or something involved, as the main thing, it doesn't hold my attention. I want just people punching each other.
What about Cars 2, the movie?
I didn't see Cars 1, so I'd be completely lost.
There's cars
with a highly cerebral story.
Somehow they can go around
with planes,
without people in them.
Right?
I think so.
And honestly, it was maybe Boat. I don't know. Whatever. X-Men. So they're all like sick. Rogue has like boils on her arm, but I don't know if that's because of the thing or if that's something else.
She's just sick.
It's real gross. I think it is because of the thing, because she took like an anti-Terrigen serum or something. I don't know. I don't know. The 8 months later thing is messing with me.
Maybe she just touched a leper.
I was going to say maybe she touched Deadpool and got his gross skin.
His cancer.
Actually, that's how they defeated the villain in the beginning of the book.
By giving him cancer.
They were fighting like the Super Adaptoid or something, and Wade touched him, and instead of absorbing his healing, it just absorbed his cancer and died. Like, real quick. I didn't know cancer worked that fast.
It's a real bad case of the cancer.
So yeah, apparently all the mutants are off doing something somewhere, and Cyclops is apparently dead, which I'm fine with. Yeah, I don't really care. Anyway, Old Man Logan doesn't show up until like the last 2 or 3 pages of the issue, because they're like, oh, there's somebody who knows about Cyclops somewhere, and they go and find him, and they're like, are you Wolverine? And he's like, well, that depends. Or he's like, are you really you? And he's like, well, that depends on what you mean by really me, because he's from Ultimate whatever the hell.
But also, yep.
But also totally yes. And he's got like a fur collared jacket on. It's pretty sweet looking, though, because it's Humberto Ramos. He's like the size of the Hulk, like muscular wise. He's too big. And there's too much of him.
Half of it is forehead, I imagine.
No, he's got a normal sized head. It's just on like a stupid body with like claws that are like 3 feet long.
Yeah.
What else did I read? I read the first issue of All New, All Different Avengers, which was fine. Though it seems like the kind of book
that's just too long of a title.
It doesn't seem like the kind of book that's going to be very good if you read it one issue at a time. So I'm sure when I buy the book, it'll be a lot better. Because team books are always it's always longer to build up everything that's happening.
Yeah. Who's doing that one?
Mark Waid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be awesome, no matter what.
It better be, or else I'm going to.
Though one of the goddamn Kubert brothers is doing the art.
Who now?
One of the goddamn Kubert brothers, Kubert. One of those guys.
There's 2 of them?
There's at least 2. There's Andy and Adam. And they draw the exact same.
I've probably got them confused then.
Oh, it's garbage. It doesn't matter. They both draw the same, and it's both terrible. Then I read All New Wolverine, which was really good.
With X-23?
Yeah. Still not a fan of, like, how her hair comes out of the mask.
At all?
At all.
The fact that it comes out at all?
Well, maybe if it was, like, shorter hair, but because it's, like, long flowing hair, it looks weird coming out of the back of her mask. Like, why not just have a mask that covers your head, like Wolverine did? I get the whole, like...
Go ahead.
I get the whole, like, female superhero thing, but she, like, her costume literally covers her entire body except for her jaw and her hair. So, like, I don't know. We don't need, like, reminders, like, oh, by the way, it's a woman. Like, we get it. I don't like, just
you
don't
can tell
differentiate
from her slender frame.
Yeah, like, don't differentiate her from, like, male superheroes by doing crap like that.
She's still banging Angel?
I think so. I thought she was banging Cyclops, but no. I don't know. Well, I didn't read, like, the last... I thought they, like, hugged or kissed or something. I might be confusing. It's been, like, a year since I read any All-New X-Men.
I don't think so. But, yeah, at the end of All New X-Men, she and Angel started dating.
Yeah, I didn't finish it. I still haven't read Black Vortex. That, like, screwed me over, because, I read, like, Guardians and Cyclops and Captain Marvel and All New X-Men. They're all tied in.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for the paperback of that to come out.
I mean, I don't think any of the villains from Black Vortex really stuck around or are still a threat. Maybe they'll come back, but basically just the big changes were that some people got more powers than they had before. So, like, Angel has jet engines with his wings or something like that?
Like laser wings or something?
Because why not?
Yeah.
Because that's the next stage in human evolution.
Well, actually, they weren't really... They were teamed up in the sense that she jumped off something and he caught her, and that was, like, his whole involvement. And then, like, he patted her on the head.
Like couples do.
Yeah, and he was like, he was like, is that awkward? And she was like, that's awkward. And then she was like, I didn't say stop. Weird.
And everyone's watching.
Just hours of him patting her on the head. slowly boring through the atoms that aren't able to heal themselves in time. I want to say that's all I read. I read Morning Glories number 49, which finally showed the headmaster.
Don't tell me.
Don't tell you what they showed him. I just did.
Who the headmaster is?
Oh, if he is someone we've seen before, I don't remember.
Right.
It's a confusing comic.
Yeah,
It's a kind of comic I'm gonna have to go back and reread once it's all out.
I can imagine.
Because I'll get to the last issue in 5 years or whatever, and I'll just be like, I don't know who any of these people are. So I'll have to go back and read everything.
Yeah. So how about Why the Last Man? I hear you read that recently.
It was phenomenal. Yeah, I finally read it because you and your wife bought me the last 3 volumes I needed.
Yeah,
because I'm an animal human, and I didn't. I had the first 7 and just didn't read them because I didn't have the last 3.
And don't you feel foolish now?
Yeah, because I would have hated to get to 7 and then not had any more to read.
Fair enough.
I mean, it sucks now not having any more to read, but at least it's finished.
Yep. It's been a while since I read it, but I remember it being just one of my favorites. As soon as I finished it, it was just fantastic. And I didn't realize until recently that I didn't know Brian K. Vaughan he worked on Lost for a few seasons. Yeah.
And he was the showrunner, I think, on Under the Dome, right?
Yeah. That I like not to think about.
I think he's has some involvement with the Why the Last Man TV show that they're doing on FX.
I would hope so. Lost was the first place I think I heard about Why the Last Man, because Hurley is reading it during the show.
Huh. In the beginning or towards the end?
I don't know. Probably somewhere in the middle. I think.
I think I do remember that actually.
He was.
I think it was season 4 or 5.
I think he was on the show for seasons 3 to 5. Brian K. Vaughan was.
Because I know the comic he had in the beginning was a Spanish Green Lantern or something.
Is that the one with the polar bear?
Yeah.
God, that show made no sense. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. But it was ridiculous.
So you think's going to play Yorick in the Why the Last Man TV show?
Who do I think is going to?
Going to, because it's probably not going to be Shia LaBeouf anymore.
I didn't know it was going. I didn't know there was a chance for it to be him in the first place. So
the guy who made that movie Disturbia was going to make a movie of it, and he wanted Shia LaBeouf to play Yorick. This is years ago.
That's one comic that I think could be done fine as just a movie instead of a series. Most, when they try to condense them into a movie, it just doesn't work well. But it's a pretty quick story.
Yeah.
Are there other people in talks for it?
I think they're in pretty early days right now.
Not sure, because he's what? He's early 20s?
Yeah, he's 22, I think, at the start, and then he's 27 at the end. Well, 27 before the end.
Right. He's 80 in the end?
Yeah, 80 or 90, almost.
I don't know. I don't think I know very many 20-something-year-old actors. Early 20s.
Shia LaBeouf?
Nope.
I don't know how old Shia LaBeouf is. Matthew Fox.
Probably 30.
I wonder how much they're going to change it. Because, Brian K. Vaughan. He did Under the Dome, which was, completely different than the book.
Yeah. Almost to the point of being, I don't know, bad.
Almost to the point of not being the same thing. So why, you could just use the Dome concepts and start fresh from there if you're going to make it that different. At a point, just be we just like the idea of the Dome, but we're not doing that story.
So we're just going to do a Simpsons movie sequel.
It was a good book, though.
Oh, yeah, it was a great book.
I said good.
I said great.
It took me a year to read, because I would read 200 pages at a time and then just not read it for months.
Also how long it took me, so that's probably why I want to remember it as great, so that I can justify the amount of time it took me to read it. So anyway, you liked Why the Last Man, huh?
I really liked Why the Last Man. I liked Hero. I liked her character arc throughout the story. I did think that we're obviously going to be talking about spoilers. I probably should have said that
We'll cover that
closer
in the intro.
to the top of the episode. Yeah. I did like that the feminist like cult leader or whatever she was, Amazon lady, like died in volume 2. Because I thought she was going to be like the villain for the series. Because I hate cult leader characters in comics because, obviously looking from the outside in, it's like, what the hell are you doing? They're clearly in a cult. So it just annoys me when people like listen to them because they're always just nut bars. And then she gets an axe in the head, which was pretty great.
Yeah. How did she die? It's been a while since I've read it.
The girl that Yorick kissed in the town of Lady Prisoners axed her in the head.
That's right.
And then Hero killed that girl. And Yorick was like, but more dramatic.
What was he like?
But more dramatic. So much more dramatic.
Bullseye Yorick.
Yeah, I was working on my impression of him.
Do we have time to go through the whole story of Why the Last Man?
Okay, so basically, a virus, I'm still going with the curse theory, that an amulet was removed from Jordan airspace, so it killed every man on the planet. That's one of the theories presented in the book. I think Brian K. Vaughan did say which theory is correct, but that's the one I'm still going with, because it's the most rad. Every man on the planet died. Basically, every mammal. What?
Because if you're going to kill every man on the planet, you're not really above the sci-fi answer, the fantasy answer. Supernatural.
Well, apparently it was that it was some virus meant to like curb Chinese population by like killing off men or something like that. Oh, shit, that's what I was going to say. Like way earlier, the Terrigen sickness in X-Men. Apparently, it makes all the mutants sterile. Also, so no new mutants ever again.
Did you ever read that? Like the I think it was just one volume of Sam Wilson. Or was it just all new Captain? Just all new Captain America.
But you said that he became sterile, right?
Yeah, it's basically like this stuff that's supposed to make superhumans sterile, or maybe just Americans or something. I don't know, something weird. And and you're like, at the end, he gets infected. And then, like, a page later, Misty's like, oh, by the way, here's the cure.
So it just didn't matter at all?
It didn't, like, at all.
So luckily he's on a monster like Black Widow in Avengers 2.
As they call her, for not being able to have kids.
On par with the Hulk, who can, just straight up eat people and destroy cities. But because she can't have children, she's a beast. So yeah, apparently mutants are just after the last generation of mutants again. So we'll see how long that takes before there totally are new mutants again.
Give it a week.
So it kills all the men off in Why the Last Man, except for Yorick Brown and his monkey Ampersand, who were both males. So he tools around with this agent of the Culper Ring, which was George Washington's like spy society,
which actually existed.
Yeah, I think they have that show about it, don't they? Turn?
I don't know. I don't watch shows.
Washington Spies. It's on AMC. So I don't watch it. Okay. But it's got the Thing in it from the new Fantastic Four movie.
Michael Chiklis?
Yep. Doing a real bad British accent. Just sounds like he's from Boston. So he tools around with Agent 355 and Dr. Allison Mannon, and they're trying to figure out both what caused it.
Also, Yorick isn't like a zookeeper or anything. He's just a guy with a monkey.
He's training it for people with disabilities like Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, but like, you can do that. Like, you can just get a monkey. And I don't know why I don't have a monkey.
Yeah, it could make you immune when all the men die. Or it could make you powerful when all the women die.
Ugh. That's not a society that'll last very long. God, if this story was gender swapped, that woman would be in trouble.
Yeah, it'd be pretty gross.
Yeah.
It's dark.
And it would still only go like maybe one generation farther. Like, okay, she had twins. That was best case scenario.
So they're going to try to figure out both what caused the death of all the men except for Yorick, and trying to like clone him and make those clones immune. It's a whole thing, and and they have
trying to find his girlfriend.
Also trying to find his girlfriend Beth, who's in Australia. Didn't do much because he was traveling all over the place for 5 years, and she just kind of stayed in Australia most of the time.
No, if you ever get lost, Dane, you stay exactly where you are, and you wait for someone to find you.
Unless you think that someone is totally dead, because she had every reason to believe that Yorick was dead.
Maybe she's an optimist.
Plus, then again, he did have that magic ring that made him immune to it.
Can you imagine if, she went around telling people that she had a good feeling that he was the only one still alive? I'm sure Yorick's still alive. And then he shows up.
She would look like a goddamn psychic.
Right.
And she actually did anyway. She had that dream and went around and was like, yep, Yorick's alive, I'm going to Paris to meet him. And then, that totally worked out for her.
Yeah.
They're tooling around, and they have all sorts of... just a myriad adventures.
It's a big old road trip.
It's a big old road trip. Most people are trying to kill them because they're like, nope, kill that guy off. We can't, because there's just one left, so just get rid of him.
Let's just have a generation of women for a few years.
For 50 years, and then we'll all die.
Yeah.
Also, the women aren't very good at, maintaining order, it seems.
Yeah, it's briefly sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, and then later on, when the series is 5 years after the start, they're kind of getting around to making things normal again. But it's a little Mad Maxy at times.
Yeah,
things aren't good.
They're not great. I think it wasn't the most normal, orderly society just made up of a bunch of inmates.
Yeah, convicts.
Felons.
But they were all nice people.
Yeah, well, for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, one of them axed an evil woman in the head, but she was evil, so it was okay.
Yeah. That's called justice.
And her dumb head. And then she kept showing up as a Force ghost to Hero when Hero got better.
Did she? I forget that.
Yeah, well, she's Hero, kill your brother. And Hero was like, and then she just kind of disappeared. She mentally got rid of her. And no! And that just that was it. She just kind of disappeared. It was never a thing again. She didn't find Yorick and be like, I should kill him. I shouldn't kill him. He's my brother. Just so to specify, Hero is Yorick's sister, and she joins the Amazons for a while and goes crazy, and then she gets better.
They were both named after Shakespearean characters because I guess their parents were pretentious.
Their dad was. He was a professor.
So
their mom was
pretentious.
What was she, a
senator?
She was congressperson or senator or something like that. Chairperson. It was something official.
President?
In Washington. President of the United States.
Actually, didn't she
also, there's
president?
Israeli army women after Yorick for most of the comic.
Yeah.
And the leader is a nut bar.
Yeah, but a super hot Israeli nut bar.
Yeah. I'm not disparaging that she's not hot, but still crazy.
But
and trying to murder him.
Yeah, I thought Yorick's mom became president or something?
No, it was some other white lady.
Yeah.
Of course. Goddamn honkies.
White women always being president.
Women be stopping. Women be stopping. Women be stopping, man. Be like, bitch, we gotta go, okay?
So what happens next?
In Why the Last Man? What did I get? I didn't really get to any specific events.
Yeah, they go on adventures.
They go on adventures for 5 years. There's 6 months between every adventure because it's basically real time from when the comic came out. So it'll just be oh, remember that thing we did 6 months ago? That explains why your hair and stuff is different.
They find some astronauts.
They do find some astronauts. Both of the men die to save the woman. Which I understand chivalry, but you gotta save the planet. Come on, guys. Come on. Though she does have a boy child, so I guess that kind of works out.
You can just call it a boy.
I'm using Jor-El's term from Man of Steel. We've had a child, Zod. A boy child. That's what he says. And he's supposed to be the guy we're on the side of.
Blocked that from my memory. He's also supposed to be a scientist.
Good movie. Yeah, he had a beard.
Like a super smart person.
But he was also really muscular.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a good fighter.
He was almost as good as the general of the army.
Did that time for all that science shit.
He put up a fight.
Then he got stabbed. And then he died. And then he shot his son off into space. He was a nut bar, I think. He was a nut bar. It just happens that, all of his stuff worked out.
Jor-El, you know there's probably nothing out there, right?
So they have all sorts of adventures. They find the lab. They meet like a one-eyed Australian gal. There's ninjas. They go to Japan. There's like sex robot.
Other order, right? They go to Japan and then there's ninjas?
No, there's ninjas before that.
Yeah.
Toyota, the ninja.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently she's been following them like pretty much since the beginning to try and kidnap Ampersand, take him to Japan. Yeah. And then we find out that the reason Yorick is immune is because Ampersand is immune, and Yorick regularly has to deal with Ampersand's feces, which gave him immunity to the virus.
Yeah. Super survival powers.
He is really good at surviving because he puts himself in danger all the goddamn time.
Yeah, I think he'd be a little bit more careful.
You'd think,
being
but he's not.
The last man on Earth.
He is kind of a dummy.
Yeah.
He was real good at escape magic, illusions.
It's his one skill. Yorick, probably at some point.
Yeah, I mean they're all the 6-month gaps between storylines.
So that was the confirmed reason for his survival was.
Yeah, I think Brian K. Vaughan confirmed it.
Was Ampersand the monkey's poop?
Well, Ampersand, we did know that for sure in the comic book. It's the reason for the virus that wasn't made entirely clear, but he did say it was the Chinese thing. That actually was the crazy Israeli girl at the end. That she's the one who said that, and they just assumed she was like making it up, and that turned out to be the right thing.
Yeah. So what was it? It was a virus that America was developing, or that Japan?
Yeah, I don't remember who was developing it, but it was basically to it was either to kill a bunch of the male population of China to just to bring down the population, or it was to sterilize all the men, or something. It was something like that, but it went wrong and killed every male on the planet except for Yorick and Ampersand and Dr. Mann.
Which, if it was to kill a bunch of Chinese men, that would be a huge hit for them, because China's already got that problem where they had the one-child policy, which...
Yeah, if you have a girl, you just put her in the river.
Pretty much.
Or whatever.
They didn't want to have girls, so they would just try for boys.
Because girls are gross and have cooties.
They had girls, they get rid of them, so now they have a generation of men. And that's going to be a problem for them when they can't have kids.
Well, they can adopt from China. Damn it. That's right. My mom wanted to adopt a little Chinese girl, years ago.
Just on
I almost had a little Chinese sissy just on a whim. Go get one. At Home Depot and buy one.
Now you have to go to one of those little, little Asian marts.
There's one over, on the way to Noon, and there's an Oriental marketplace. That's not racist, that's what it's called. It does have, awesome Japanese candy and stuff.
I don't think Oriental is offensive as an adjective, just as a noun.
I don't think it is. It just... I'm not. It's not a word I'm comfortable with.
You can say Oriental market or an Oriental rug, but you can't say that guy's an Oriental.
Or you can't just say, "Look at that Oriental."
Or
he shouldn't be in this restaurant.
Or a pack of Orientals. It's not okay.
Do they come in packs? Like cigarettes?
Yep.
According to Mel Gibson.
And he's Mad Max. So he knows a thing or two.
3/4 of the time, he's Mad Max.
Maybe he'll come back for a sequel.
I hope not. I really like Tom Hardy in it.
Yeah, he didn't do much.
Didn't have to. He was mad.
Oh my god. I just now got that.
He probably had the most to say in that movie than he did in any other movie of Mad Max.
Probably not the first one.
It helped that he had that opening monologue in his head. I think without that would have cut his dialogue in half.
Yeah, or probably more. I feel like that was more than he said at any other point in the movie.
More than he said in a row, at least.
Oh yeah.
That was a whole speech.
I guess.
And after that, it was just grunts and short, barely sentence fragments.
Probably the second longest part would be when he convinces them
to stay there.
You're thinking of Iron Giant.
And Mad Max. When he gets the pregnant girl to try and stay in the truck, that's literally what he says. He just keeps adding words to the sentence, but he goes through it again.
Probably the second longest part was when he was convincing them all to go back after they got to the desert.
He was really good at like pausing between words and pointing and squinting his eyes a lot.
Really, all you need. Bullseye Mad Max. So yeah, that was a pretty quick summary of Y: The Last Man.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it.
Yeah, there's fine details and such.
Yeah.
But go read it, because it's only 10 volumes, and it's really good. Actually, it's 5 volumes if you get the deluxe editions, because it's just 2 volumes in one.
So actually, that and Pride of Baghdad are still the only 2 things I've read of Brian K. Vaughan's, I think.
You ain't read his Saga yet?
I have not read Saga yet. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
You should be, because it's fantastic.
We can do a whole episode on that, just because of everything I've heard of it.
I'd be fine with that. I could do with rereading it.
Just after reading Y: The Last Man, I've been looking forward to read anything else by him.
I still need to read that Wolverine comic I have by him.
It's just like a single issue.
It's like 3 issues. So I think they're pretty long. Not long, but like longer than normal. So it's still like a full book, but it's only 3 issues long. So they're probably like 30 or 40 pages each.
I guess that's not too bad.
Has Caitlin finished those 2 volumes of Ex Machina?
Ex Machina.
Whatever.
It's Latin, Dane.
It's a dead language. Nobody knows how it's pronounced.
I think she read the first volume and hasn't read the second yet, and I have not touched it. Well, I also read an End of the World comic recently. It is Battle Pope.
Oh,
which technically...
that's what I was going to say real quick. Brian K. Vaughan has a new comic out called We Stand on Guard. I'm going to read when the first volume comes out.
What's it about?
I think it's about the American Army attacking the Canadian Army.
Like, just because?
I don't know. I haven't read any of it.
Like, they were getting restless?
Just felt like doing it. Like, I've got to test some stuff.
During a time of excessive peace.
Like, in your face peace. So they were like, we got to teach these hose heads a lesson.
Everyone's getting soft. No.
Gotta get them hard. Gay porn hard.
I read Battle Pope, which is Robert Kirkman's first comic.
Is it good? Because I'm kind of nervous to read it, because I love. I'm sure it'll be still better than like most things by other people.
It's not the worst comic I've ever read.
Okay.
But I'd say it's pretty risky for considering it's his first comic. Like you'd think that'd be something someone would put out like after they're established.
But they can get away with it.
Yeah. Like that's not something you just go out with and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this comic where the Pope is a hard drinking, smoking, cursing, fucking guy who does
Little
martial
boys?
arts." Huh?
Little boys?
Nope. He's pretty clearly straight, and only into adult women. Though he does have sex with a demon at one point that is implied it might be underaged, because apparently that's a thing demons can be.
Underage? Yeah, demons are born just like everybody else.
Apparently, like she's like this huge hulking bull looking, like kind of looks like a minotaur.
So it sounds like bestiality.
I mean, she talks. She speaks English, so there's that. So let's see. Her line is,
"If a cow talked to me, it wouldn't make a fair game."
Wouldn't it though? Wouldn't that raise some kind of questioning?
No, because it still looks like an animal.
Yeah, a delicious animal.
Yeah, but not in that way.
Her first line is, "Hey, handsome, you looking for some action?" And she winks one of her 3 eyes. And he looks disgusted, then thinks about it, and says, "Well, when in Rome," because he's in hell at that point.
Ah, yes.
And then gets caught by her father the next day.
Chip Zdarsky just is writing like storytelling tips on Twitter.
Are they actual tips?
Yeah.
Or
it can be. This one is storytelling tip 3. You should be able to describe your character using only 3 words if need be. For example, Batman, buff, sex daddy.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, it looks like We Stand on Guard is just a 6-issue miniseries, and the hardcover is out in May. That's cool. At least I don't have to wait a long time to finish the story.
That's months.
Well, I mean, I won't be getting the hardcover. My animal. I'm waiting until the paperback comes out. I was going to say they actually had finally the first Battle Pope at Heroes the other day when I went.
Yeah, I got this at a comic book store we found near us.
Nice.
It was on sale for like $8.
Oh, Jesus. Well, I want to buy them, but I want to buy them on like a day when it's half price, like Free Comic Book Day or Black Friday. But they never had number 1, so I never bought 2, 3, and 4. So hopefully this number 1 at least will last until May, so I can go buy it for half price.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, this is apparently from the days when Image Comics' first volumes were still $15, even though it's a 4-issue comic.
Ridiculous.
Right. But yeah, so it's basically about... He doesn't start out as like a superhero, he's just the Pope who likes to drink and smoke and fuck and does martial arts. You see that apparently he was trained by Bruce Lee, which was like just a standard part of his training to become Pope. Like all the popes go through it. Bruce Lee talks about how, like, there's a flashback to when he was a kid, and Bruce Lee is there with the previous Pope, John Paul, and talks about the other night when they were at a bar and John Paul kicked a bunch of ass when, and I quote, "A couple of honkies tried to stiff us on a bet."
Does Bruce Lee say honkies?
This is Bruce Lee saying honkies, yes.
That's incredible.
But then, like, right at the beginning, basically, God comes down to Earth, or reveals himself. He's just kind of a big face in the sky. And it's like, it's rapture time. Let's see, who's going to heaven? Nobody. Because you guys all suck. And so, like, immediately a bunch of demons break out of hell, somehow. Because, I guess God is just upset and not paying attention anymore. And so, they say, like, there's a treaty between humans and demons, so that it's just kind of like an uneasy truce between them, where now demons live on Earth, and they're not at war anymore, but they still are just, like, all dicks.
Now, when you say, like, you mean them as a people are like dicks, not
those people.
Like when they put on tight jeans, they're just all dick.
No, because the first demon that the Pope fights, they make repeated references that he has a small dick. Basically, like, there's an angel that came down to heaven to fight a bunch of demons, but he got captured, and so God gives the Pope superpowers. Except not even really powers, he just makes him really buff and gives him some guns.
Of course.
And teams him up with Jesus, who is just kind of an inept stoner in this comic. And, like, he's like just the comic relief, can't do anything right, bumbling around, picking his nose.
He's Shaggy.
He's pretty much Shaggy. And,
like the singer, I mean.
Oh, no,
Mr. Boombastic?
No, I meant the...
Mr. Boombastic.
The member of the mystery team.
Yeah,
not
the
mystery
guy
team.
who did Mr. Boombastic. Mystery Machine.
Do they even have a name for the group? The Scooby Gang? That was Buffy.
Yeah, so probably that also.
Yeah. Scooby
Mr.
and
Boombastics. The Boombastics, I think.
Mystery Inc. That's what they call themselves.
Yeah, Mystery Inc. Shaggy and the Boombastics. I'm not letting this go.
I am letting it go. So yeah, the angel's being held captive by Lucifer, who's just like a regular demon. And first they have to fight the zombie twins, who are like half zombie, half robot. And they make a giant Voltron of dead bodies to fight with. Like, they're basically just a mass of corpses. And they try to eat Jesus, but he explodes with Jesus light? I don't know.
Holy light?
Pretty
I would
much.
say.
There's just like a big flash, and he's floating there, and he doesn't even seem to know what happened. The Pope is like, what the hell is that? And he says, I'm the Son of God. It's like, oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, there we go.
That explains that. Yeah. Then, the Pope gets dragged to hell by some demons when he's trying to save the angel, and he spends like, I don't know, a month in hell or something, just kind of hanging out, sleeping with underage demon girls, and playing poker with demons.
Bulls. Minotaur.
Whatever. I think that was covered with Demon. Let's see. Oh, it appears that the main forms of torture in hell, other than like just general pain infliction, are watching the Teletubbies, being hooked up by the mouth to a toilet pipe. Like there's a toilet and a pipe comes down and goes into a bunch of people's mouths until they burst. Or a bunch of people are crucified and just their bottom halves are being eaten by demons, but like really slowly, and they have a decent relationship with the demon who eats them. And I guess they regrow every day. So it's like the two that the Pope meets are named Sam and Ralph, which I'm pretty sure are the names of the Wile E. Coyote and that sheepdog. You ever see that cartoon? It's like one of the only ones where Wile E. Coyote talked, and he just had this rivalry with a dog. But
his name was Wile E. Coyote.
It might have been like a different coyote. But
so you're saying they all look alike?
Absolutely.
That's true.
Like at the end of the day, they would just kind of clock out and be like kind of buddy-buddy with each other, as if they weren't trying to kill each other a minute ago. But that happens here. There's a guy that's crucified, and like his whole bottom half is missing. There's just entrails hanging out, but he doesn't seem to mind it at all. And like Pope's like, I'm going to break you out of here. We're going to get out of hell. And he's like, what? No. Ralph's a good guy. He's just going through a rough patch.
With the Mrs. Linda.
Yeah, he says,
oh god, you have a sticker on the front.
Yeah.
How can you live with that? How can you live with yourself?
Because every time I try to take a sticker off a comic book, it leaves a big sticky patch that's even worse.
Yeah, so you just get rid of it.
The comic?
Yes.
He's all eaten up, and he's like, oh, this is nothing. You should have seen me the morning after Ralph's wife left him. I didn't think they'd ever grow back after that. Basically, the whole comic reads like a Saturday morning cartoon of just like the Pope being kind of this goofy superhero, except with explicit language.
Yeah, like Saturday morning cartoons in the 90s.
Yeah, pretty much. So, like, nothing really makes sense in it. But, yeah, it's not the worst comic I've ever read, but it's probably the worst Robert Kirkman comic I've ever read, because I haven't read that one that he did with Liefeld.
Oh god, I don't plan on reading that one.
I
just won't be able to look at it.
They tried to get rid of at the comic book store.
Yeah, for like 50 cents, right?
Yeah. I actually kind of regret not getting it just for, like, the bare minimum price that they were offering. Because, come on, it's practically free.
Come on.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. I'll probably read more of it. I think it's hard to find online, though, so I might have to buy it.
Yeah, I mean, at Heroes, they have all four of them.
Yeah, alright. Well, but that's only enough for one of us, Dane.
That's true.
And you're closer.
Still waiting to get Captara by Chip Zdarsky. I got that, Darth Vader Volume 2, and the Garth Ennis Secret Wars book, Where Monsters Dwell, in my Amazon cart. I think they all come out like tomorrow or Wednesday. Like on Amazon. I'm sure they're already out in stores.
You have to order them. You can't just leave them in the cart.
Yeah, I'm not going to order them when they actually come out. I'm just waiting.
What if there was like an option on Amazon to try to walk out with the cart without paying?
Just occasionally they'll be like, this ballsy punk, sure.
Yeah, like 1 in 10 chance it'll work. The rest of the time you get arrested.
Or they charge you double.
Yeah.
That's the risk.
You can't back out. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm actually going to be able to read Darth Vader finally. I have the first volume. I haven't read it yet, but I figured I'd wait until Volume 2 came out, so then I could go right into Vader Down.
Yeah, I've read the first 2 volumes, but I haven't started Vader Down.
Which I still haven't finished. I think I'm like 2 issues. I think I'm like 3 issues behind on Star Wars, but I'm like 2 issues behind on like the second volume, right before Vader Down. I didn't read like the last 2 issues of the second storyline.
Yeah, same with that. I've just read the first 2 volumes, which in both cases a lot better than I expected, considering.
Yeah.
Like, not that it wouldn't be a good story. It's just that with it, it's a prequel to the movies basically. So it's or an interquel, whatever, midquel, whatever they call it. Stupid word. Because none of the main characters are going to die. There's not really any risk or anything. You kind of know where everything is going to be by the end of it.
It's kind of how anytime they had commercials for the friggin' Clone Wars TV show, it'd be on Toonami back when that was still like for kids.
Yeah.
And it would be like, oh, how's Anakin get out of this scrape? And it's like, well, this is based before the third movie and the other movie, so it's getting out. It doesn't really matter how.
Yeah. The Darth Vader comic has the secondary main character, or even almost the main character in some of the issues, is this girl that Vader doesn't take on as an apprentice, but he's just kind of hiring her. And she's
does she learn how to use a lightsaber?
She's cool. Nope. She's just like a mechanic. She's kind of like Bluebird in Batman, Harper.
Oh, yeah.
Except doesn't get a costume and stuff. But she's basically just like trying to keep just enough leverage and like usefulness to not let Vader kill her. It's working so far.
So you think Boba Fett's gonna get his own comic?
Probably.
I hope he doesn't.
I heard rumors that guy at the beginning of Force Awakens was Boba Fett.
Guy at the beginning?
Yeah. Max von Sydow.
Max von Sydow?
Yeah, Sydow.
That'd be kind of disappointing because he died immediately.
Yeah, I guess, did I say rumors? Because it's more of like a theory, or just like people speculating. It wasn't.
I was trying to figure out if he was supposed to be somebody because they like talked about him like we were supposed to be like, oh, it's him from the originals.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just some dude. There's been like 30 years between these and the originals, so a lot could have happened. So what would your end of the world plan be?
What do you mean?
Like if the world ended, and say you were the last man on Earth. I guess a zombie apocalypse would be a better.
Yeah, zombie apocalypse would be rad because you just get to kill zombies. Like that's the goal.
Have there been any like? I'm sure there's been at least some, but like any big mainstream zombie stories where zombies existed in fiction for them? Because most of the time, like with Walking Dead, Dawn of the Dead, all of that, like they've never heard of zombies.
Well, in the comic Walking Dead, I think zombies exist because they say the word zombie a bunch of times until like volume 13 or 14 when they cut that shit right out. But I mean, nobody's like, what are these things? Like beyond the actual coming to grips with the idea of Walking Dead people, but they're not like they're not acting like it's an I mean, it's possible, but they're not acting like it's they've never heard of the idea before. So I think in the comic, zombies as a concept have existed. In the TV show, I think they haven't.
Because I mean, most of the time, that's going to be the biggest problem with surviving in that world is that there's going to be like a good period there where no one knows what's going on and doesn't know to kill these people. They're going to be like, this person's sick. Yeah.
Oh god, that always pisses the hell out of me. Like if they have pieces rotting off of them, they're not going to get better.
Yeah, probably not.
Why is he still coming?
He took his arm off. Why didn't that stop him?
I'm asking you something, Herschel. Why is he still coming?
God. Ghouls are just fucking terrifying now in Fallout.
Yeah.
Fallout 4. They're like... I mean, they weren't not scary before.
But they didn't like move the way they moved in Fallout 4.
Compared to now, they are just like screeching, sprinting... Like they get to you in a second. And
and like when you try to fire at them, that's when they'll like just suddenly twist away.
Yeah, they are good at dodging. And now you can lop their arms off, and they'll still keep coming.
I usually shoot their legs off.
Probably be a good way to go.
Shooting their legs off?
Not for them. Like a good strategy. It's a terrible way to go. I also read some Brit recently, which was
nice.
A much better Robert Kirkman comic than Battle Pope.
Too bad he only does the first volume.
Robert Kirkman does? Just that,
Yeah.
what was it, Old Soldier?
Yeah, it's like 170 pages, so that's pretty good. But he's like the editor on the ongoing series after that, which is only 12 issues, 2 volumes.
Who writes it after him?
I don't remember, but I read it and I remember it being good. So it's not like it was crap after he left.
Did that first volume come out after Invincible had started?
I think so, because they had an issue of Invincible. It was during some invasion. I don't think it was the friggin' Flaxons. It might have been one of their later ones, but it was far enough into Invincible that it must have started, after Invincible started.
Yeah.
Because it was like going through pages of all these different superhero groups across the world fighting the aliens or whatever. And it would be, if they had their own comic, it would be like, appears monthly in whatever comic, and one of them was appears monthly in Brit.
Gotcha.
And actually, for the Capes Incorporated one, it was appears once-ly in Capes Incorporated Volume 1.
Yeah, Invincible shows up in the first volume of Brit, near the end, and just kind of in the background.
Oh, yeah.
But by the end of Brit, he has his kid is just being born, and I remember in Invincible you see him and his kid when Robot takes over.
Yeah, I think his kid's autistic or something.
Oh, jeez. And indestructible.
Also indestructible. It's a good combination.
No, it is not.
if he's a good guy.
It's like a really bad take on the Hulk. Yeah, Brit's good. I like that. It's like Captain America if he was actually showing his age and more crotchety.
And had no powers beyond being indestructible.
Yeah, which I liked. That was when I was watching Jessica Jones. When Luke Cage first shows that he's indestructible, I thought it'd be cool to see someone like that who doesn't also have super strength and just has to deal with normal stuff. And that's exactly what Brit is.
I think Luke Cage has super strength.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
It would be cool to see that without the super strength, which is what Brit is. Because he's indestructible, he gets naked a lot more often than I expected. Because anytime...
Yeah, his clothes kind of fall apart a lot.
Yeah, anytime he gets shot up a lot or burned by a laser or something, he's just a naked old man. And also when he sleeps with his 20-something stripper girlfriend / wife.
She's going to law school or something?
Nope, she dropped out to become a stripper.
Yeah, same thing.
I like how he finally meets his future father-in-law, who is young enough to be his own son, and he calls him Pops, and the guy calls Brit Son.
Yeah.
Once they get along. And it's not weird at all.
Nah, it'd be crazy if it was weird.
So that's all we have for today on comics.
Okay, I thought you meant that was the name of the podcast.
Yeah, on comics.
On comics.
Is that not what it's been this whole time?
It's on comics with Henry Kissinger.
I spent $300 at Kinko's making flyers.
Yeah, flyers for a podcast.
Yeah, I know my audience, and it's there's people who listen to podcasts, and there's people who are very eager to look at flyers, and those groups overlap perfectly.
Significantly.
Yeah. Trust me.
And they all love Henry Kissinger.
I did the market research.
Talking about comic books.
I prefer Henry Killinger. Und his magical murder bag.
I was going to say magical murder bag. So that's comics.
That's comics.
This has been On Comics with Henry Kissinger.
Episode 10.
This is episode 10?
I think so, yeah. If I'm mistaken, I am going to look like an idiot.
Just a goddamn moron.
More so than usual.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all for now.
Yup.
Bye-bye.
I'm waving.
Dane's waving.
I'm waving.
Dane is waving.
No, I am waving.
Dane.
I will fight you through this computer.